You're listening to the Vibrant Vision Podcast, a podcast designed to help you get clarity, increase your confidence, and cultivate the most important connections so you can have the impact you were created to make. I'm your host, Amanda Kerrigan. Now let's get to making that vibrant vision a reality. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Vibrant Vision Podcast. And today I have a very important question for you. It was a question that was posed to me by a dear friend of mine at the end of 2017, which was my worst year ever. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. And that question today is, are you winding down or ramping up? You know, right now it's that time of year. October, November is when we really see people just kind of like put their whole life on hold for this planning season of their life. Yes, this year was the worst year ever, and next year is my year. Next year is going to be better. And that's the attitude that we have on social media. My favorite post was 2018 is the worst year ever. It took Aretha Franklin from us. And we tend to blame the year. Well, what really took Aretha Franklin from us was pancreatic cancer. And I have no problem with saying that I hate pancreatic cancer, but I do have a problem saying that it was the year's fault. It's not. We need to take radical responsibility for what's happening. And that's why I'm asking this question today. Are you winding down or ramping up? Because let me tell you, 2020 was my best year yet. And 2021 has been even better. So it's not the year's fault. So let's take some radical responsibility. The problem with starting to plan and stopping our whole lives for the entire fourth quarter is that it wastes the fourth quarter. Games have been won and lost in the fourth quarter. Teams that have had an unprecedented lead have gone on to lose that lead to a team that came behind, defeated the odds, and won the game. And that can be you. You can be the underdog that wins the game. So if you think that this year has a solid lead over you, think again. I think that it's time to ramp up and start achieving your vibrant vision right now, not waiting until January. At the beginning of this episode, I mentioned that 2017 was my worst year. And I'll tell you, my then husband and I had separated. A friend had died by suicide. And at the time, I had a supervisor who was really abusive and was trying to get me removed from my job that I have done and done well for 7 years, only because I'm blind. Yes, it was appalling and it was hard and it was heartbreaking. And I remember on my birthday, I was out with a friend and we were sitting at lunch and she asked me this. She's like, hey, for 2017, are you winding down or ramping up? And I thought, well, I can't get much further down, so I'd like to ramp up. And if that's you, if you're ready to ramp up, because each year after that has gotten better, if you're ready for that to be your reality, I have 3 action steps for you to make that happen. So how do we ramp up? There are 3 steps. The first one is to acknowledge what happened this year, both good and bad. I'm a huge fan of reflection because reflection allows us not to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again. It also allows us to process the pain and the victories so that we can move forward effectively. We can't move forward until we know what happened. So acknowledge what happened. And especially in all 10 areas of your life. I'm going to get into this a little bit more in the next couple of episodes, so hang with me. But acknowledge what happened spiritually. Did you maybe stop reading your Bible or your devotionals or you stop praying? I know that that was a major thing for me in 2017 is that I declined spiritually. What happened with your health? Have you maybe gained more weight than you wanted? Or maybe you've lost weight. Whatever it is, acknowledge it. Acknowledge those victories. Did you have a major breakthrough at work or in your business? Have you had a major breakthrough spiritually or in your health or in your family? Acknowledge it. Celebrate it, because acknowledging is going to give you the power to ramp up. So take some time to write down what happened and what you wanted to happen And then you can kind of close the gap between those two. So, for example, I wanted to purchase a house by March. I moved to Grand Junction, Colorado in the middle of January, and I thought, well, it doesn't really take that long to buy a house. So my goal was to close by March 31st. I closed on August 6th. Okay. 4 months after I wanted to close. And a lot of that was stuff that was out of my control. The market is hot in Grand Junction, and it's especially hot in my buying range because there were a lot of people coming in with cash offers. It was disappointing, but I persevered. And after 10 offers, 10 offers, I finally purchased my house. But there was a gap, and that took away from my attention on other goals. So just acknowledge what happened, what was out of your control. So open your calendar, because I believe in what Michael Hyatt says, what gets scheduled gets done. Open your calendar and find 30 minutes right now where you can spend to complete this process. All right, so that's step one, acknowledge what happened. Step two is to set no more than 3 goals, 3, okay? Because otherwise you're going to be splitting your attention between too many things. 3 goals that would make a significant difference. What would make a significant difference to you, and what would make a significant difference to your family? Maybe it's a business goal, like getting 2 new clients. Maybe it's a business goal, like getting 2 new clients. Or maybe it's a fitness goal, like dropping 20 pounds before the ball drops. That's my friend's goal. We'll talk about my favorite goal setting formula in a future episode, but for now, the SMART goal formula will work just fine. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. Okay, so just remember, if your goal isn't specific and it's not measurable, there's no way that you'll be able to know if you have achieved it or not. So notice both of these goals that I give you an example on meet that specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. 2 clients by the end of the year, 20 pounds by the end of the year. Schedule another 30 minutes to set these goals, and to do this correctly, you really need time to think. You need time to prayerfully consider what goals would really move you and your family forward. All right, so step 3, and this is where a lot of people fall down on those quote New Year's resolutions, is to actually set your action steps. Because your goal feels impossible, it's important to break it down, especially since you're like, oh, I only have until December 31st. Well, you know what? Guess what? You have until December 31st to take these actions. And you know it's not impossible because you checked yourself. If it's really outside your comfort zone, maybe you need to scale it back. Maybe only losing 10 pounds is what's possible for you. That's okay. Set it and achieve it. So you know the old saying about eating an elephant 1 bite at a time. Let's break down those bites so that you can break these audacious goals into something that feels achievable on a daily basis. So your client example. So some next steps, and actually I'm taking these directly from a client call that I had a couple of days ago with her permission, of course. Her action steps are to request a meeting with her pastor, to talk about how she can serve her church through coaching. She's going to set up a couple of coffee meetings with some people who are influential in her community. And she's also going to talk to a friend of hers about maybe helping out with the YouTube channel that she has. So those are her action steps. Her goal feels big, but her action steps are small. Another thing that you can do, if it's a habit goal especially, is break those down into milestones. I actually learned this from one of my mentors, Anna Runyon of Classy Career Girl. So what she suggests is that you break them down into what progress will I have made in 30 days? What progress will I have made in 60 days? What progress will I have made in 90 days? And that allows you to see a monthly snapshot of the milestones that you want to hit. So to recap, our steps are to acknowledge what happened, set some SMART goals, and then break those goals into manageable steps and put time keys on those manageable steps. Because if you don't know what you're going to be doing in 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days, you're going to all of a sudden hit December and you're like, whoo, I have 3 months worth of work to do in 3 weeks. And that's not a good feeling. So be sure that you're breaking this down. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this podcast, I'd really appreciate a review. It helps me have other people find the podcast and benefit from how they can create their vibrant vision as well. So until next time, get clear, get confident, get connected, and achieve your vibrant vision.